Guys, deluded, I'm back again. Oh, so much excitement is shaking, but I'm back again. Now, I'm not going to keep you guys here long. You see the title. I'm here to speak about Enrique, Unai Emery again. Now, before I start my last video, I mean, majority of people, whether I'm right or wrong, can see where I'm coming from. If not, just can appreciate everyone can have different opinions. I mean, I must admit, I might not say things always come across well, but one thing that's annoyed me is that like people are assuming that I'm saying that Unai Emery, despite saying numerous times he's skilled at tactics, he's a tactician, he can do them things. But just because you can do them things, if I don't agree with how you necessarily set out in games, just because you can do that, it's a bit irrelevant to me. Like, yeah, that doesn't equal being a master tactician. I mean, you can tweak things just for the sake of tweaking, like Ranieri used to get bannered for. So yeah, on that basis, yes, he plays progressive football, which I've said. Yes, whether it's 4-3-3, there's talk of being forced to play that at PSG, or 4-2-3-1. Whether it's that, he doesn't play boring football per se. He plays expansive football. I'm not saying he doesn't do any of that. What I mean is Arsenal, we have problems, especially in big games, away form in general, but especially in big games, right, people? Or am I lying? So if we look at the big games, okay, he's won some. Forward, let's just speak about his time at PSG. I look at the Monaco defeat. I look at a couple of times they've dropped points this season, even though they won the league. More specifically, last season when they lost out to Monaco. I look at the Real Madrid game. I look at the Barcelona game, which yeah, you can say ref decisions and blah blah blah. But there's been times where he's necessarily got his tactics wrong. Look at how he set out against PSG. He got these things wrong. Now, he's human. He's allowed to get these things wrong. But that's an area of concern for me because Arsenal, we're not PSG. We are not them bigger clubs. Again, I'm not using this to bash him. I'm just simply weighing up the pros and cons of the manager. Like, if he's got these things wrong, we have had problems, whether it's going into City and getting ourselves handed to us, conceding three, whether it's the Liverpool have been beating us up for a while. All of these sort of fixtures, if we quantify that and apply that to our immediate future, how is he going to pattern that? Now, what gives me what gives me confidence is that he's beaten Klopp before 3-1. He's beaten Klopp. He doesn't like Jose Mourinho. He's actually called him a crybaby, and he's cool with Pep. So that tells me he's on for the fight. In terms of being a disciplinarian, we're seeing a lot of conflicting reports now. It does feel like a bit of a supply teacher based on what I'm reading, in the sense that yes, he's not letting players freestyle and do whatever, and it's not a holiday camp. But what I mean by that is sometimes it doesn't resonate well with players, and players are not necessarily taking him seriously. I mean, you look at the Neymar stuff. It's tough managing prima donnas, but then he is smart with it, because I did read that he likes to give USBs to the point where I rate that he's very much on the video analytics and them things there and going over them and editing footage. And he would obviously, if you're doing that and putting that much time into it, you want your players to do that. So apparently at times at Valencia, when he players he knew wouldn't read it or watch it, he'd give them a blank USB. So when they're saying, yeah, boss, I read it, I watched it, he knows they haven't. That's a smart man. So yes, I can appreciate the video analytics and things like that. But Wenger used to do that, and you saw several occasions the players not taking it seriously. Alexis actually doing push-ups one. He probably commands a bit more respect because he's a new name in that aspect. But they are things that concern me. They give me confidence because I want to see video analytics and things like that. And you can no doubt admit, and I'm not using this as a point to bash him, you can no doubt admit numerous of his staff is going to come in. But it's a bit like a supply teacher in the sense that, yes, you can command as much authority and do these things. But if you're not able to resonate well with these players, it's going to be hard. Like I said, it's difficult managing prima donnas at PSG. He's more of from what I see, a coach than a manager. But when you look at things like how Reyes in his second spell, how he helped him improve, and several other examples, there are some things that gives me confidence. I said this in all my vids previously. He gives young players a chance. Yes, at PSG it's difficult because of the standard of the players and what they want, but I'm so sure he's given more debuts than any PSG manager of recent years, man. So Arsenal, we know we like kids, and if we have a tight budget, he's gonna have to work with that to probably get free kids to save us a few bob in certain areas. While we're on the topic of saving money and things, he's worked under the director of football and these sort of structures at Seville. So with the new way Arsenal's going, with the new model we're implementing, he probably doesn't have any qualms about the likes of Mislintat, which he shouldn't have, and Sanye, because I'm not saying he doesn't want to veto any signings. I think it's concerning if any manager in general would allow players to come into the club that they, especially for the first team, that they don't necessarily want, know, or need. But he's shown he'll work under that. So with the model we're going, we need someone like that. And we were saying these same things about Arteta, so it's him. I must admit, there's very two jobs. I've rarely seen a man go from two jobs that are completely polarising, from working with a tight budget in Arsenal from previously working at PSG with being able to spend as much as you want, essentially a stake to a tight budget with Arsenal. I've never seen someone go for two different jobs in such a small amount of time. Like I said, he's friends with Pep Guardiola. He won a lot of plaudits for his good football, man, with under Valencia. Valencia, we got them to third place in the Champions League. I think he got Almeria promoted, and he got another team promoted. His win percentage at a lot of his clubs is over 40%, so he's decent. His highest is obviously at PSG because, for obvious reasons, at 70%. So there's a lot of things to like about him. A con has to be the language barrier, and that's overplayed. Why I say that is because you look at it several times, allegedly, I could be wrong on this, but he didn't take too kindly to wanting to learn French, and he didn't want to learn Russian. And in Russia, he lost 26 games, he lost 11 of those, and he was sacked in the dressing room. Adi McGeady actually said that in an interview. So again, if we apply that logic, it's concerning, isn't it? I'm not saying I'm not saying these are all facts. I'm just giving you guys all the possible pros and cons that I'm personally thinking of. Like, he's good. His tactics are good. I have my reservations about how he sets out at times, but his tactics are good. Like, just because I have my personal bias doesn't mean I'm not able to see what he's saying. So his tactics are decent. They do fill me with a bit of shakiness, and that will have to go as the season goes on. But his tactics are decent. He's obviously won the Europa League. He's worked under a tight budget at Seville. Done his thing at Valencia. His spell in Russia is probably one we should keep quiet about, but he's done all right. So when people are telling me I'm this, I'm that, I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, hell, I can just have a different opinion. I rate the manager. I just have certain concerns. What's so hard to understand? I called for this manager to actually sign for Arsenal, if you go and check my other videos. But I am allowed to have concerns about how he tactically sets up. I don't want to say he remastered the likes of Rabiot, but he remastered Rabiot. Lo Celso, always bringing him off the bench. Kimbele giving him his chance. I'm so sure he gave Ware, Yachin Adli might have been on the bench, and definitely brought in Okunku and things like that, giving them chances in the first team. So he'll give youth a chance. He's gonna have no doubt but to work under a tight budget at Arsenal. So it is decent stuff. Like, what else have I got? Like, yeah, man, it does bode well for the club's for the club's model. What concerns me is allegedly the club's interviewed 10 people before him. I like to see meticulous planning and stuff, but it looked like Arteta was nailed on. It looked like it's something they're earmarked on for ages. Hell, that might even be something we revisit in the future or so, or it could be one that got away and he could go elsewhere to work wonders. Off topic, people, I'm looking at Cesc Fabregas' book right now, and he has manager reservations, and he's getting on the bit. He might even manage Arsenal at one time, but I mean, he's a man of qualities. At the end of the day, he's done his thing at 3 different respective clubs and achieved relative success. If he brings through that Spanish way of thinking, that innovative, that meticulous approach, which he has, I'm good about it. It's just the tactics, on-field tactics, I have a problem about in big games specifically, because Arsenal have a problem in these big games. And when you look at, we've lost a crap, pardon my language, a S-load of points away from home to teams we really should be beating. It's the big games that Arsenal fans are missing, in the sense that when last did we win one? Spurs away last year, okay, cool. When last did we go into an away game or a game expecting to win the big games? Probably United when they won Europa League, when we played them at home, I believe, because they rested so many players. But on a general basis, when do we go in against the likes of Liverpool? Even Spurs, it pains me to say that, but even Spurs, Liverpool, United, even where they've been, all of these sides, big games, Atletico, we're going into them, we're not confident, people. We're not confident. So if he can instill me confidence, and that only comes from knowing that I know someone's going to be meticulous in their planning. I know he's meticulous in his planning off the field, but when it comes to management, there's certain things you got to do. He is meticulous in his management, so I might not be making the point. But when it's these big games, it's the margins. You need to do certain things right. And I've sadly seen a man fail the test too often than not. But at the end of the day, if he becomes Arsenal manager, regardless of my opinions or anyone else's, you have to stand behind him until he gives us reason to lose confidence in him. It could have been a lot worse. Some fans were complaining about Arteta, and now they're complaining about him because Arteta lacked experience. They're now getting him. You've got to kiss the Allegri one goodbye, people. It looks like he's staying at the club. Like I told you, he might have been using Arsenal's interest as a bargaining chip to get new money and new players and all these new things into his club at Juventus. Enrique looks like he could be even going Chelsea, 200 million, forget about it. So it's decent, man. Like I said, I like to hear stories about how he done things with the USP, how he likes to meticulously plan in his video analysis and things like that, to the point where his old player Joaquim said he lost popcorn for his video analysis. I like to see video analysis because it might show these players, especially Mustafi, why he shouldn't dive in and things. But I look at it before. We've had video analysis is nothing new to this club. We have that in abundance, and these players haven't learned. Maybe a different voice brings through different results. But I do hope that some people now have seen where I'm coming from. I'm not bashing the manager by any stretch of the imagination. I know the majority of you have seen that, as backed up by the views and the idiotic comments. There's only a small minority. But yeah, they're my final thoughts now. I don't want to say he's rubber stamped to become Arsenal manager. He more or less is, but Arteta was here at this point. Any other twists and turns in developments, I'll be here to speak about. But on that note, and as for now, I've got to get ready. Guys, deluded, get in the comments, subscribe, and do the rest. Thank you.